This is the TCL T-51N21. It is a CRT television from about the mid to late 2000s, I suspect. Curved tube, 51 centimeters in size. Recently I filmed a 34 centimeter version, a little one of this you could say, and it turned out to be pretty good with a good range of connectors, which this also shares. So I'm interested to see how the TCL performs today. I'm going to have to make good use of the controls on the front as I don't have the remote to command the television. Here's the side profile and here's a set of connectors and input into composite video stereo left and right. Around the back going forward down to the label. TCL, made in China, model number. Most importantly our connectors, particularly component input, as well as S-video and composite video again, and RF. I'm curious to see if the television performs true stereo sound unlike the little 34 centimeter model. Inside now, pretty clean unit. Look at our tube label, Sega Hitachi A51, 51 centimeters, made in China. Our speaker on the left side, going around to the other side, we've also got a speaker there. They both have separate cables leading down to the chassis, as you can see where I'm pointing, so I'm hoping it's true stereo. There's also a little cable in the back of the shell that runs from that input, that composite input we saw before, and plugs into the chassis down there where I'm pointing. With the TV on, I'll go into its menu system. It's got 3 tiers. This first one's picture adjustment, the standard stuff. We have another menu with clock and timer and position of the on-screen display. Very typical stuff. Then we have this other menu that's got some unusual ones in it, particularly this biological clock. We're at 1998 for whoever's birth date this is. If we change the value, change the year or the month, all these attributes go up and down. I don't know if this is some sort of astrology or birth date related forecasting of people's skills or whatever. Even what's the target day? What does that mean? The target day? I've got no idea. I've never seen this before on a television, so that's a bit unusual. Also a bit unusual is a game, although it's not super uncommon to see a game built in. Unfortunately, I don't have the remote to push OK to start the game, so I can't demonstrate it. However, it's probably the same game that was in the little 34 centimeter TCL. It's a bird's eye view maze game. The obligatory light gun test with the NES PAL via composite video. The 2-duct mode we're playing right now. No reason why the light gun shouldn't work. However, I always feel it's necessary, just for the record, just so we know for sure that it does work and there's no anomaly. So every shot's been perfect, no problems with light guns on the TCL. This time we're on the Sega Saturn, doing the old S-video check. No problems with colour, with playback of the Saturn on this TV, NTSC Saturn. Quickly while I'm here, buried in the menu somewhere, if we go into setting here, blue background on, so when there's no source, no console, no device plugged in, that background will be blue, as you saw earlier when I was showing you the menu system. Automatic volume control, child lock, color auto, 4.43 PAL, 4.43 NTSC, 3.58 NTSC, and auto. Just to show you that it's got it all there. An NTSC composite and S-video will be no problem, and presumably component as well. PlayStation 2 hooked up via component will go into HD loader. Inside HD loader I have a number of game backups. Today's game will be Phantasy Star Collection, the Sega Ages one. With this game, like the Wonder Boy collection, one can choose 240p or 480i or 480p. Go to Phantasy Star 4. By default, the image is in 485, so you get that interlaced flickery look. We will go for Genesis to get English. Then display settings. Out of 480i and into 240p. And that takes that interlacing out of the image, which gives it a proper 240p look. Okay, that looks fine, looks quite good. Let's go into display settings and try 480p, which we know will not work on this TV. It's not progressive scan supported at that higher resolution. That loses image. That is no surprise at all, so we will retreat from this option and go back to 240p. I don't see any trouble with 240p whatsoever. And the image looks good. Still on the PlayStation 2, however, I'm concentrating on audio now. For some reason, this game has no music playing, probably because it's backed up onto the hard drive and it's searching for the disc possibly. That's actually a benefit because I only want to hear the sound effects really anyway. So by my ear, I'm quite confident that this is proper stereo. I can hear Ryu's Hadouken from the left, and then when it hits Ken on the right, you hear it out of the right speaker. Vice versa when you go to the other side. So that's enough to convince me that the television has proper stereo. Pattern generator's on. Let's get a crosshatch up to measure convergence. So I can see some misconvergence top left, perhaps where it's most prominent. Also some in the bottom right, bottom left. One thing that stands out to me is the width of the squares, the boxes. So the center box would be 25, thereabouts, millimeters. Whereas here on this left, a little bit less again, but this one over here is really short at about 20 millimeters wide. So you're going to get that curving effect on a side-scrolling game like Sonic or Mario when you're running across this narrow strip. It's going to give it a bit of a curved look. Also, probably could be rotated a little bit to the left, but that's not going to make things perfect. If I had the remote, I would venture more into the service menu and try and maybe fix things up there a bit, but those convergence issues would probably require opening up the TV to adjust the rings or something like that. So a few defects there for the TCL. If we go to this pattern here, that center circle's nearly same width and height measured. So it's pretty round, and those others look fairly round, but again, with that narrow strip that we saw before, those circles won't be quite as good as they may perhaps look. They're not fully in screen to see, not fully round, but otherwise not too bad. Finishing off the video now, I've hooked up the Wii U via component. Don't know what to say about the Wii U's component output ability. This game actually looks quite fuzzy. It's very blurry in motion for this setup right now. It's got borders at the top and the bottom because I've put it into 4:3 aspect ratio through the console. If I go 16:9, it will fill the screen, but there'll be areas cut off. Anyway, regardless of how the Wii U looks, because it's creating more questions than answers at the moment, the TV is not top tier. It's vivid. It looks good. That looks reasonable. The geometry and convergence were a little bit lacking. Does have the stereo sound, although it is quite a harsh sound out of this television. But in saying that, I don't have the remote, which probably or could have sound adjustment on it built into the remote to adjust, whereas the TV's menu may be missing the sound adjustments. That is possible. So not a top tier TV, but serviceable. Not too bad. Could be one to pick up, but not a holy grail or anything like that. Anyway, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more CRT goodness to come.